Okay, first test rip.
Welcome back to the shop. Thank you for stopping by. In the last video, I showed you guys my new DRZ and we talked a little bit about what my plans are for it. If you missed that video, check it out, get yourself up to speed. In this video, as you can see, it is up the lift. We are finally gonna dig into this thing. I've got a workbench full of parts. We're gonna do some basic maintenance. We're doing a couple of hop-up video. Because in this video, as you can see behind me, we've got it up on the lift and we are going to be diving into it. Now, you saw me ride the thing. I did a little bit of work to get it there. I had to fix some bad rejetting from the previous owner to really get it to run well enough to put it on the road like that, to ride a little bit. In this video, we're basically gonna do all that stuff again, so you'll get to see that. I've got a workbench full of parts. We're gonna do some basic maintenance like an oil change and a new spark plug. And we're also gonna do a little bit of hot rodding. I have a special goodie from my buddy in Colorado, and we're gonna dive into this thing and see if we can't make it go. All right, so I've got the bike torn basically all the way down, and that's one super cool thing about this bike is, for one, a single 8mm socket is all you need, and probably, I mean, hell, I got to this point inside of maybe 15 minutes, totally stripped down. We've got really good access to everything that we need to have access to. And so we're ready to get to work now, and we can also get a really good look at this thing. There's lots of spots like this on the frame that are surface rust from paint just kind of having been knocked off. It won't focus on that. Focus, come on now. Oh well. So there's lots of spots like that on the frame, but for the most part, this bike is pretty clean, as clean as I need it to be, really. It does, like I said, it does have a box mod. It's called a 3x3 mod. It's literally a 3" by 3" hole cut in the top of the airbox to allow more airflow. It also has a pod filter, which is aftermarket. I'm not saying that makes a lot of power within itself, but come on. I had a visitor. But in any case, now I'm getting a really good look at this bike. Now, like I said, I have done all this before, but now you guys are getting a really good look at it. Now, here's the exciting bit. Here's what we're gonna work on today. So I have my motorcycle oil, I have a new spark plug, this is the oil filter, and the surprise is this is the rest of the JD jet kit that I was given. The bike does have an FMF aftermarket slip-on, so it does have to be rejetted for that, and that was part of what I had to do to get it to run. But this is the special bit. My buddy out in Colorado found this brand new FMF. This is an FMF header, but the important part is this bit right here, which it won't focus on, but it says power bottom, and it's this expansion chamber that's known to make pretty good power in these DRZs. He got this thing for super cheap and shipped it out to me. So today, the first thing we're gonna work on is installing our new header. So we're gonna put the header on. After we do the header, we do have to rejet once more, which is fine. I wanted to get this thing to run first before I did anything else, just to make sure that it worked and I wasn't messing anything up or wasting time or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling this exhaust off the bike and get ready to put the new exhaust on, and then we're gonna pull the carburetor out and I will show you that. It's really pretty cool. It sounds tedious. It's not that bad. It's a pretty cool process. I'll show you. The DRZ is a very old bike, very antiquated in a lot of ways, but primarily it is easy to work on because it was designed as a military vehicle. It needed to be dead reliable, and simple. So because of that, we get a lot of benefits. There's one piece off, there's the muffler. Now comes the header, which is a cinch, so that's awesome. Okay. So now we have a little bit of a moment of truth, hoping that this fits up nicely. You can never be too sure. For instance, can't see anything, I have to go to the other side. Aha, there we go. I've got my everything pretty well threaded up, so that's good news. Now, I'm not going to tighten it up all the way. Reason being, I still have stuff that I have to put on. Let's talk about that. Okay, so now we have to rejet the carburetor. Our header is installed. You notice I did not put the muffler back on because this rear half here is a subframe that's bolted here and down here. I have to slide that subframe back to get the carburetor out so that I can rejet the thing. Now, it is possible technically to rejet the carburetor while it's still on the bike. Tried it, wasn't a lot of fun, a whole lot easier to pull it off and do on the workbench, and I get to show you guys a little more of the process with it on the workbench over there. So I left the muffler off so that I can move the subframe back so I can get the carburetor off. But either way, our header is on. We do need to rejet the carburetor. It's kind of impossible to show you how to get out of here. It's like you got millimeters to work with. So let me get this thing off. I'll meet you over at the workbench and I will show you what this looks like over there. All right, so we got our carburetor off the bike. And real quick, this is why I think that this bike is so neat, is it's so well known that with the JD Jet Kit I've got here, they sent me these instructions that tell me exactly what I need to do to this carburetor to make the bike run well based on my mods. Now, they've got, whoops, happens every time. They've got right over here, the elevation I'm gonna be running on, and then down here, the mods that I've got. What I do have to do is put a 170 jet in it instead of a 160 jet. And so all of that is done on this bottom side here under in the float. And again, I have already been in here because I wanted to verify whatever the dude before we put in it, and it turns out he had it wrong. So he changed the wrong jet to the wrong size. And I just find that really funny because there's paper directions here, and on the back side, there's literally a picture that is labeled with the different parts that you need to put in it. So I find that kind of funny, but the good news is the bike went from not running very well to running like a top with just a couple minutes worth of work. The carburetor, it's a single cylinder, so the carburetors are really easy to work with and they come off very quickly. So, you know, that's a good thing. I got it for cheap because it didn't run well, and I didn't take very long. The bike already came with the parts I needed to fix it. So it's a positive experience and a good deal that I got with this thing. So we're gonna gently lift the bowl off. It looks just as clean as it did last time I was in there, which is a good thing. Careful with this gasket, we'll put that back later. And here we are revealed the guts, the main part, the stuff that really, oh, here we go. The stuff that really matters in here. Now what we're gonna be changing out is this jet right here. Over here is a pilot jet, and I believe that is low speed idling is what that controls, and this is when you start romping on it, this is what you change. When I got to it, the guy had changed this jet, which I honestly don't know what it does, but it's the wrong one. And so I went and put, we confirm this is a 160. What we need is a 170, which is a larger jet. You gotta be gentle, these jets are made out of a very soft material, very soft metal, so you really got to be careful with doing it, but it's really just a flathead that you're working with. And we're screwing the bigger jet in. Now, this is pretty much the biggest jet in the system. So in theory, we're flowing more fuel than anything else. So I'm going to just, because I have issues, I'm going to make sure everything is tight. The pilot jet is still nice and tight in there. And so now we got to put the bowl back in place and really make sure our floats are still moving freely. That's a good sign as well. So we're going to gently slide our bowl back in place. And screw it all back together. Okay, and just like that, we have our carburetor put completely back together. We are ready for it to go back on the bike. Okay, so we put the header on, we rejetted the carburetor. I had to take a break while the camera charged up a bit, but I was actually able to find some of the wiring here that I'm going to need to put this bike back together. For one, the bike has no horn, and I found the horn connector here. Two, it's got no front turn signals, and I found the connectors factory there as well. I was really quite concerned about those things because there's some hack job wiring stuff on this bike, and usually when you see hack job stuff like that, it is really ugly. There's, you know, parts missing. They just cut and splice the harness all to crap and everything. So I was really worried about that, and so that's looking really good. Here's the deal. I already have way too much footage for the kind of video that I want to make on this bike today. So what I want to do is show you guys the most exciting part, and that is finish the exhaust system. So you saw how easy it was. It came off. This is the muffler the slip-on that I was talking about. It's an FMF Power Core 4, and we're going to put this thing right back together. I have not tested this, so I do not know how it's going to go, but it kind of feels like everything's lining up just fine to me. He says as he struggles to get it, there we go. So I don't properly know, it looks, okay, so it slips over, so that's a good thing. We need to get the hanger in place here. Screw goes on the back. Working on dirt bikes is really pretty interesting because everything, I'm constantly, well, you know, from working on cars and working on street bikes, everything is really solidly put together because you're going to be doing highway speed, and it has to be able to put up with highway speed. But working on this thing has been really interesting because there's been a lot of stuff where I've kind of said, is that really how Suzuki did it? Because that doesn't seem right to me. Oh. And the exhaust is one of those things, but that's it. That's it. Header is in place, muffler is in place. Obviously it still needs to be tightened down, but that does it. It's in place nicely. Here, let me show you. Okay, so we got the header that comes out of the head right beyond this bend. It comes down into our expansion chamber. The power bomb comes across the side of the head, the jug rather, over here. I still have to tighten this clamp down, but you can see it inside the slip-on, and it comes out to mount right here. And that looks about right. I would like for it to be a little more over, but that's really close to where it needs to be. I can fiddle with that, sort of bend it around some. But that's it. That's awesome. That's gonna look great when the bodywork is put back together. Outstanding. So that's gonna be a wrap. You guys can find me on Instagram at The.Daily.Racer. I'm very active there, always posting things, you know, stuff I'm working on day to day. Go give me a follow. This project is only going to get bigger. Thank you so much for watching. I cannot wait to show you guys more of this. It's gonna be so cool. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time. Sorry, I could not let you go without you hearing it run. Let's see how easy it starts up. This is legit. 2 seconds after that last video. The bowl has to fill up with fuel.